Hey everyone, welcome to the I Don't Be Knowing podcast. I'm Trox.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy Reese.
And we are here to get into our money bags today. That's right. We are going to get into the topic of money and finances today with our very special guest. But before we even jump into that, we got to make sure we talk about one of our favorite things in the world right now, and that is some mood brews. Reese, what you know about a mood brew?
Hey man, I know the mood brews have me about lit.
Had you about lit, had you about turning over. Hey, well, real quick, for those of you who know absolutely nothing about a mood brew is this really fascinating hybrid alcohol combination that combines house-made, handcrafted beer from some of North Carolina's finest breweries and mixes it with some milk that has been infused to taste like bananas straight from the cow's teat. That's right, straight from the cow's teat. You buy them in a bundle, you slap them together, you put them in your mouth, and people are having a good time with this thing. So if you don't know anything else about it, you need to know that you need to go out there and go to moodbrews.com, use our code IDBK, and get yourself a sample pack on us for the one time. It'll have you what, Reese?
Mooing for more.
It would definitely have you moving for more. Okay. So, again, y'all got no idea. I'm so excited to talk to our special guests and bring our special guests up. But before we do that, Reese, we got to make sure we let the people know who the baddest beatboxer is in the land, who is the best substitute for an actual introduction song on our podcast in the whole land. Reese, why don't you go ahead and drop it for the one time. All that moving ain't picking up on the mic, though.
Cut.
Go ahead, drop it one more time. Technology ain't your friend right now. Hey, there we go. I don't be knowing. We don't be knowing how to do an introduction. We need somebody to drop that beat again. Hit us up in our inbox. Hit us up in our DMs if you feel like you want to come and help us out with that music. I want to go ahead and bring our special guest up. I really do. So without further ado, before I talk about who she is, I want to talk about what she is. She is a self-taught financial advisor and an advocate for home ownership. She is the owner of North Carolina's Crusader Company in the fight for financial literacy and freedom for all.
Oh, snap.
She is the mother of two very beautiful, adorable children and the personification of Black girl magic. Reese, without further ado, let's welcome the owner of Natashas Credit Services, a.k.a. the queen of credit herself, friends of the podcast, I give you Natasha Jones. What up with your mind?
Hey, y'all.
Natasha, I feel like you wasn't ready for all of that.
Y'all are silly. At least I'm having fun. That's what it's about. It's the name of the game.
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly what it's about. So with the podcast, we like to do a combination of educating people while entertaining people, and we want to coin that term as edutainment. And we think you are going to be a perfect guest for that situation because after watching your videos and doing a lot of the research, we just know you have this really amazing ability to be entertaining while also educating people. And so that's why we're super excited to have you on the podcast today.
Thank you.
With that being said, Natasha, we are so glad to have you on the podcast. How are you holding up today?
Awesome.
All right, so as I was telling you, Reese and I did a lot of research and a lot of preparing for this episode. And before we even really get into what you have going on in your company today and in your world today and your views on finances of today, I kind of want to go back and I kind of want to make sure I get your permission to jump back in time for a second. Can we do that today?
Sure.
Okay, perfect. So where I want to go specifically is I want to go back to December 17th, 2008. It was definitely a Wednesday. It was about 53 degrees Fahrenheit in Greensboro. T.I.'s Live Your Life was one of the top charting songs of that moment. And you specifically made your very first Facebook post, and I quote, I am bored, ... So then we want to fast forward to last week, which I believe was on a Wednesday when I finally got to get on the phone with you and get on video with you to do your audio and video tech. When we did that, you were literally in the beautiful office that you see behind her right now. She was answering phone calls. She was replying to emails. She was helping kids with their school from home situation, all while still being present enough to test her audio and video setup with me. In my opinion, that is the exact opposite of boredom, and all things related to being bored. So that's where I actually want to start today. Tell me about your journey from being bored to becoming the Natasha of Natasha Financial Services.
Oh, Lord. So starting my journey was, I tell everybody, like, listen, this was not something that it woke up overnight and it happened. I tell you, I came from a place of bad credit. That's how I, literally started. I had my daughter at 19. So, I was working Chick-fil-A. That was like my first little job, not McDonald's. It was Chick-fil-A. And so, that's probably where I got some of my good manners from. And
my pleasure.
Right. And so, just working, my mom was disabled. So, just trying to help her out with me and my sister. Like I said, I had my daughter at 19. Just kind of seeing where I came from, it's mind blowing sometimes. It's like, what? Some people can't even believe. Like, I ran into somebody, I seen somebody I knew from high school, and he was in our plaza. And I was like, I said his name. He was like, "It's you?" I was like, "Yeah." He just could not believe it because, if you knew me then, you'd be like, "What?" Yeah. So, it feels really good to, for my peers, people I went to school with and things like that, just coming to ask me for help. Because, people that knew me then just wouldn't know what I was capable of doing now. And so, I tell people, just kind of like moving ahead of that, I started this journey by literally having bad credit myself, wanting to see me do better and persevere with, my own financial aspects. So I started repairing my credit. Then I started repairing my fiance's credit. This thing, I know a homeboy or two. And then one of them, when he got a motorcycle, he was like, "I got this motorcycle right after you fix my credit." I'm like, "What?" So, just to really see that it worked, I was like, "Oh, wow." Next thing I know, out of nowhere, I just really started fixing people's credit. That's literally how I started.
That's awesome. That's awesome right there.
That is really awesome. So I guess the really interesting thing that I'm hearing is you didn't wake up with a passion for credit repairing and credit consultation. It's something you kind of fell into and developed a passion for. So with that being facts at this point, what's kind of like your mission statement and your purpose in how you approach just making sure people are financially literate?
Right. So, like, one of my biggest slogans is telling people, like, why I do what I do is not only to build financial, awareness, but to help build generational wealth. Because one of the biggest things that I see is that, they're not teaching us this day to day. Unfortunately, it's something we weren't taught it in school. I always bring that up in my seminars. I'm like, raise your hand if you was taught about credit. Nobody raises their hand. We need to start building up for the next generation. So, I talked to my daughter with her being around me. She's watching everything I'm doing. I remember one time in particular, how you do the little open house at the school and the teacher be like, "Little Sarah, fill this out." When I talk to mom, so Michaela's over there going to town, writing over her stuff. That's my oldest. She's 10. She writing out her stuff. And so our teacher, me and her done meet her teacher. She goes over there. She says, "Michaela, what did you write?" And she was like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" She's like, "What does that say?" She was like, "I want to be my mom's business partner." And I about started crying right in the middle of the thing. She was like, "May I ask what you do?" And so I was telling the teacher I got my own company and da. She was like, "That's amazing." That right there was the full trigger to let me know that I need to push this thing to full gear. And that was about 2 years ago. Now my daughter tells everybody that we rich, which I don't know where. Okay,
Are we rich?
Yeah. She She be like, we rich. So, cause like we've been house shopping because we just got approved for another home. So we've been house shopping and some of the houses are above our means, but we just, you know how you usually look. My daughter done took a picture. She's telling people this is our house. I'm like, no, it's not. But that just lets you know, building generational wealth. Your kids are watching you.
Oh yeah.
Whether you want to believe it, they hear you when you say you're broke. Whether you want to believe it or not. So what they gonna do? My mom ain't got no money, so I can't get that because you keep saying it. We got to start instilling and speaking what it is that we want our kids to believe. I could be broke as a joke, which, I'm not broke, but we ain't rich neither. But guess what? The way I speak and the way I carry myself, my daughter tells people that we're rich, and that's what she believes. And so that's what we want to do. It's about building up and leading. And so, that's my mission. That's how I move on a daily basis.
Oh yeah, I have 4 children myself, and I have that same conversation with them, thinking that we're rich or whatever like that. But, I'm like, hey,
like YouTube.
I know, right? But we definitely tried. We ain't broken. We're blessed to have what we have, so we're definitely happy with that. So, talking to you before we started recording, we just recently went through the house buying process. Me and my fiance had, almost had the same journey as you, is fighting to climb this credit mountain. We're finally getting to that top. We're not at the top, you know what I'm saying, but we can now make some moves that better our family and stuff. So I'm glad that I'm showing that to my family, so I understand that feeling.
Yes, that's amazing. And congratulations again. Those are big moves, especially with what's going on right now. Congratulations, because that, and then, you're letting your kids know something too. And that's what I tell people. We don't want to let them know, like, look, and this is my mama, all we did was live here. And, you want to be able to tell them something like, look, we had a backyard. I watched my parents go through this process. I remember this.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. So that's dope.
Yeah, you know what? You really said something that kind of stepped on my heart in the right way, and it just made me perk up a little bit. You were talking about how you're running from your different housing options and you're taking your daughter along for the journey, and she's literally claiming that it's hers before it is, because you've put the energy out there through your hard work and through your accomplishments with having your own first your own home, but secondly your own business, for her to be able to see that and know that anything's possible because my mom and my dad are setting this example. And I think that's a lot of the generational wealth and generational resources that our generation is getting access to, because we're educating ourselves and people like you are putting in that heavy work. One of the things that I also wanted to mention or go back to was, you're literally living this example for your daughter, but also at the same time, what kind of conversations are you having with your daughter about money? What does educating a child in her age demographic look like?
So I always tell people, you can start building credit with the child at the ages, typically I would say 15 to 16 years old. So now Michaela, she is just like me. She don't like to spend money at all. She wants to keep all her money, but she likes to spend mine. Me, I don't like to spend money. So, prime example, we went to the mall. I said, what you doing? She was like, Mama, I got all this money and I'm about to buy me something from the mall. We get to the mall. She want to buy pretzels, but she want me to buy the shoes. But I thought she had all this money. So she's like, well, you the one that be telling me to save it. Michaela has birthday money. Keep in mind, her birthday's in March, okay? It's about to be March again. And Michaela still has all her money. And so, just instilling in her, and I tell my fiance, we know Michaela ain't going to have no problem saving, because she's not really, dipping in it. Because we go places all the time. It's very easily she could have been like, like how we used to be coming up. I don't know about Michaela's day and age, but how we used to be. We knew we had them $2 every time we got out the door. That $2 was in there.
Allergic to the money. Allergic to the money.
Right. You don't even know where you was going. You just knew your mama was going to the store, and it's possibly something in there you could buy. But Michaela, just kind of watching me. She's in the office. I hear her playing, like her little friends will come up here and she'll be like, hi, how was your credit? I'm Michaela. I just be like, really? She'd be like, what? So she's watching me. Have I tried to explain the beauty of saving somewhat to where she understands, like, look, if you want to buy something, this is what you got to do. Because when I asked her what she was doing with her money, she was like, I almost got enough to get a hoverboard. I said, Michaela, we're not getting another hoverboard. But she knows, she done looked up how much it costs on her phone, and she knows how much she needs to buy it, because she told me that she almost had enough, which lets me know that she's been counting it and stuff like that. So, not really having that regular talk like I would with an adult, but she knows the beauty of saving and what saving can get you if you do it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely trying to think of strategies to go ahead and instill in my kids to just get them thinking in the right mindset, and I definitely heard about the establishing of credit with the 15-year-olds and authorized users on credit cards. So I definitely plan on doing that. So I definitely want to give them something that I didn't have my first step into adulthood. And I think that's a lot of people's misstep, is that first step, because you think you can go get this credit card and you don't even know how to pay for it back, And before you know it, you're already in that hole, and you don't know how hard it is to climb up out of that, until you're in your 30s, and it's about too late. So
yeah, I think Reese, I think a lot of people who we know are listening to the podcast are kind of in that same situation, where in those formative years, those habit building years, when you first start working, well, even before you first are able to work, when you're just getting money for being you and being born, you turn around and that thing burns a hole in your pocket. And then, especially in our community, the dollar leaves the pocket within an hour of receiving it, right? And so I think there's a lot of habits and a lot of structure that we are becoming knowledge on, that we get to break that habit with our kids. But what I wanted to know now is, as your daughter is getting older, because is your daughter still in middle school or is she in elementary? Okay, so she's about to cross over. As she's getting older, how do you feel like the conversation may change? How much more literal and practical do you think parents of teenagers should be discussing money with their kids?
Now, I'm going to be the parent, because I can't speak for everybody, because you want to make sure your child can handle it. But I would probably give Michaela a credit card, because I want to see what she does. Kind of watch how she spends, because you can't really, I'm not going to say like punish them, but you can't really push in when it comes to money, because that's all they know. Like as of right now, it's just a sin. So, kind of watching how they move and then correcting the situation, knowing how to, reverse it back around. Like, look, this is what you did wrong. You used all your money, because I'm trying to tell you, the best way I learned was going without. My mama, we used to exhaust something, and she'd be like, you know what? You done. That's it for the week. So I hope you had your fun, or I hope you did that, and we learned from that. I know I did. So, just kind of giving them that inch. Hey, here's your limit. This is $100. Can you make this stretch? Our parents did it. We do it. Trying to make her see like what a budget looks like. Those conversations, as she gets older, she's gonna be old enough to understand. Like, look, I gotta have this. This is my out to eat money and hanging out with friends, and I need to use it wisely. So sometimes just putting the ball in the court and seeing what they do with it, and then come loop back around for the lesson. This day and age, it ain't too much they can tell you. They watching YouTube and everything else. So sometimes, as our moms would say, you got to show them better than you can tell them. So it's like, hey, here's $200. That's what's on this card. Once that's gone, you out of luck. I bet you they'll learn the strategy in saving probably better than we did. The way the technology is now, they got a way to track it on their phone and everything. We just had had the money in our pocket, and it was like, it was quick to get rid of. You looked up, all your little money was gone.
Oh yeah, you swiping your card, and then you on the phone trying to get into your checking account. It wasn't no looking at the screen, end up bouncing something. Oh, that was the worst.
That's the ultimate embarrassing.
Exactly. And so, I remember one time my mom had gave us our money. I decided I was going to be extra at the mall, all my little friends with, and then everybody's like, let's go to the movies. I'm looking crazy because I ain't have my $7. Because I done did extra at the mall. So when you have to start doing without, it would discipline you quicker than ever. Not saying that I'm gonna leave her out high and dry, but it just kind of puts them in an uncomfortable position. Like, look, mama did say that I needed to use it wisely. So what you think is going to happen the next time? The next week when she get her allowance, she's going to make it strap. She's going to come up with a different strategy on how she can still go to the mall or how she can still eat out with friends and still have money left over.
Yeah, I think it's really important to kind of let your kids fall flat on their face, just in a lot of ways, with the safety net of truly being able to land in your lap for the most part. And I think when our kids, we first started having conversations. By the way, so I have a pair of twins that are now 17, and then my youngest boy is 14. And we've been kind of talking to them about money probably for the better part of the last 10 years. And our introduction with money management to them was we kind of bit on I think it's Ramsey's envelope method, which was for every dollar that they get, 10%, at least 10% had to go to God. They can volunteer more if they wanted to. 50% had to go into their savings account, and we hit them with the MC Hammer, you can't touch this. And then we came back with the remaining amount based on how they set their God contributions up. That was their anytime money. And with their anytime money, we really tried to get them to understand that this is basically your budget. This is your play money per dollar. Once this runs out, you can't go touch your rainy day fund unless it's raining. That's for big purchase items at the end of the year. That's for vacation funds, and that's for spoiling yourself after you hit certain sales goals. But two of them naturally do that now. One of them is so stingy about it that he's almost trifling at this point. And then we got one, love her energy for gifting people. But at the same time, it's like we got to kind of pull her back in and help her to be realistic about her money, especially because that's one of her love languages is expression of gift giving. But highlighting the 17-year-olds, they're going to be entering adulthood next year. And this is where we start getting into a majority of what I assume to be your client base, because I'm not sure if you're working with a lot of teenagers per se, but definitely adults. Where are you seeing college-age students and young adults making some of the biggest mistakes? If you could grab a lot of these younger people by the hands while they're establishing credit, what are some of the things you would really like to discuss with them so that they are successful later in life financially?
So one of the biggest things with college kids that I see is that, credit cards. That's like the biggest thing is credit cards. They they're staying on campus. Now they're looking for a way out. The first thing they run to is trying to apply for credit cards. Then the credit cards are maxed out. So, just trying to encourage them, look, don't get a bunch of credit cards. It's not even that serious. At that point, if you can't buy it, because I tell my client base this period, if you can't buy it and you can't afford to pay it back, there's no need to buy it. And so, just kind of drilling that in your head, because a lot of times people think the credit card is a way out, and it's really not. It's really a way down.
It's a trap.
Yes. And so, that's what I see with a lot of college kids is that credit card debt. It's real. And those late payments, the next thing you look up, you start making those late payments. That's what drags the score down. So just really encourage, college kids to not really run, to a credit card. And if you are using it, use it wisely. Make your payments on time. Because trustingly, you're going to need it. It's going to be some rainy days, but you still need to be mindful about how much you're using and when and making sure that you're paying it back on time.
Perfect. Thank you for that. So it seems like just a lack of knowledge and how credit cards actually work and the cycle of abuse that a relationship with a credit card can become. It all kind of sounds like something you mentioned in a lot of your Facebook videos and even in your opening statement earlier today. And that's kind of just like your take on financial literacy. And so for friends of the I Don't Be Knowing podcast, financial literacy is literally defined as the understanding of money as a topic, whatever the hell that means. But the better definition I came across is financial literacy is the possession of the set of skills and knowledge that allows an individual to make informed and effective decisions with all their financial resources. So most people, in my opinion, especially minorities, graduate high school, and then those who go to college graduate college with absolutely zero understanding or real life exposure to how money actually works. But as you mentioned, you've highlighted this same very fact that the school systems are failing us when it comes to financial literacy. I wanted to just kind of sit with that a little bit more and hear what your understanding and your take is on that, and especially how it's affecting your clients and minorities and friends and family that you deal with on a day-to-day basis.
Absolutely. And so like when I always make that statement, I tell people the top 3 reasons, people don't, like people's credit is going downhill. The first one, believe it or not, is I don't lost my train of thought, is they didn't know. No one knew any better. The second one is like divorces, relationships. The third one is helping people. These are the most common ways people's credit goes downhill. They didn't know no better. Bad marriages, relationships, and then helping people. And so like I always tell my clients, all the time, because like if I see it, for example, I have clients that do authorized users. Okay. It's okay to be an authorized user on somebody's credit card. Don't get me wrong. But you do not need to be an authorized user on somebody that's over here maxing out their credit card. Yeah. You're on the wrong person's account. And so, I try to encourage my clients, to do the right thing without being like, stop helping Zay Zay and Ray Ray and worry about yourself. You're not going to get a house. We're not going to get the car if you're over here trying to help. But my son, he needs to use it. What is that thing for the student loan? They got something fancy now where you can run your credit. It's called Student Care. Oh, it's called something. I'm going to have to look it up. But it is something fancy where your parents can almost co-sign for you for your student loans. But it's got something to do with your parents' credit. And she was like, but my son, he just got one more semester. I was like, but I said, aren't you trying to get a home? Because like sometimes kids and all, like, look, it's financial aid out there.
Oh, yeah.
Look, little Ray Ray better go over there and apply for it like everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously, because as adults and as minorities, we got to think. We're always worrying about our kids when sometimes after a certain age, it's not really your battle. Or you can set up another expectation. Look, little Tommy, I can't do it this time. But what I can do, let mama go up here with you and let's talk to these financial aid people and see what other options are available. If we stop settling or trying to be the hero all the time, it would probably put us ahead.
I think honestly, when it comes to college, and I've already started telling my kids this, college isn't for everybody. Everybody shouldn't run out and go get these student loans and get these high interest rates and, the delayed payback and stuff like that. College isn't for everybody. You can easily go to the community college, maybe even pay out of your pocket and get a vocational degree or certificate and be making way more money than you ever would have outside of college. So we've already instilled that in some of our kids, because you kind of see where your kids are going. You're not saying they're dumb, but, I feel like they would have a better path, this way, instead of spending these thousands of dollars in a 4-year institution for no reason, really. So I think that's really half the battle as well.
Exactly. Like the thing with the relationship, in marriages, you got to be careful even when you're married, not to get a whole bunch of joint accounts, everything, joint accounts. Number one, you're creating debt for both parties. That's why I tell people, if you don't have to, don't put your name on both sides of the fence, because if something happens, you need to have room for the other person to make moves. If the other person is walking around with, an $80,000 debt or $50,000 debt with a car, we don't need both of you walking around with it. So, then if something happens to the marriage, now both of y'all, well, I get that all the time. Well, he's supposed to be making the payments, and I talk to him, he say he's going to pay. Then I talk to him, she say she going to pay it. I'm like, you know what? And like I have husband and wife split up during the program. I'm keeping my service. It's his fault. And yes, I have husband and wife that actually break ways during my program, and it's like war. Well, can you tell her, because she the one supposed to be making the payment, and it's crazy because now y'all got all these joint accounts just because you're married, when it's probably a move you could have made on your own, so it's time when in relationships and marriages that you kind of pick and choose what's worth putting in both parties' names and what's worth with kind of going separate ways on certain things.
Mhm.
So, and then back to not knowing, it's just something we weren't taught. Nobody sat down and said, okay, use a credit card or, make sure your credit score stays in between this number so you'll qualify for this. It wasn't taught to us. So, I know at one point, and this was probably like months before the pandemic, Guilford County was actually talking about bringing in a financial literacy segment for our schools. They were also talking about bringing in some instructors like myself. I kept looking on their website and I didn't hear much about it after that, but I know it was something that they were talking about.
I'm not sure if I did or not. I'm in Randolph County, but that's a no-brainer to me. Honestly, that should be something that's every senior should have to do. And me and my wife had already talked about once our kids do get into the 12th grade, we're going to put them through the Dave Ramsey Financial University, I think it is, and get them have an understanding of it, and that's going to be their criteria for us is to go through this course.
Yeah, I would
He
dare
helped.
say, don't even wait that long. Like, go ahead and consider it freshman year or sophomore year as soon as they
True,
start circulating their own money,
true,
so that they
true.
don't develop bad habits right away. They kind of have a solid foundation to move with. And then, Tasha, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think that's one of the biggest and most idiotic things that our schools do. Growing up in the North Carolina school system, I can attest to the fact that we didn't talk about money at all. There was never conversations about how money works, how money builds upon itself, compound interest rates, APRs, all of that crazy foreign language when you are financially illiterate. And I think that's very important. I also will speak to you offline, maybe after this call. I know someone who you may be able to set up a custom curriculum with and get yourself in there as a contractor and do exactly what you're talking about. Start touching students before they become adults legally and making that correction right then and there. But with that being said, I am also wanting to go back into the business of Natasha Jones and the business of your financial consulting firm. And I want to just highlight something, and you did it before I even got a chance to get to it. You beat me to the punch, but that is you do come off as a very confident, charming, and high personality type person. And one of your personality quirks that I'm personally enjoying is your catchphrases and your analogies when you reference, folk like Ray Ray and Zay Zay. And then when you get on a really good tangent and you take that pause and you be like, oh, I'm stupid. And then the other one that you do say a lot is get your business aligned. I kind of really wanted to highlight that last one, get your business aligned. Could you speak to that a little bit more, please?
Yeah, so one of my biggest things is because for most that don't know, I am a business coach as well. So I help people on business structure and building a solid foundation. I am I can't stand no mom and pop shops, okay? I can't stand it. If you're gonna come correct. If you're gonna say you're running something or you're establishing something, let's do it. This is something that I've been preaching for 2 years. So it's just so funny to me that the pandemic came around, and what did the grants call for? They called for you to be structured. You don't even qualify for the money. So you mean to tell me you're gonna give me 10 grand because I got my EIN, because I got my LLC, because I got a business bank account, and for some of my people, some of my clients, they at home. 10K just for being structured and their business being aligned. It is detrimental that when you say, and I ask people all the time, I be like, are you in business or are you doing business? Because when you're in business, you're just existing. You're just doing a little something. You running a hobby right now. But when you're doing business, you're doing things right. Your stuff is aligned. You're talking to people. I still have some people that don't have a business banking account. So when I write you a check, I'm writing it to you when it should be written out to the business. These banks, the grant money drops tomorrow. Are you in position? I still have people that don't have a bank account. You're not going to qualify for this money that's free, all because you've been procrastinating for 2 years. You've been out here selling hot dogs, the Sarah Lou and Jane down the street, and you still ain't got your stuff together. What is happening?
I feel attacked.
Like, for real.
I feel attacked.
I'm serious, because if you really think about it, the funding is here. It's literally just calling for structure. But I have so many people haven't filed their business. They've been doing business for I don't know how long, still haven't filed it. I'm just like, Lord have mercy. But getting in position, that's what it's about. And I do believe that 2021, our people are going to get in position.
I love that. I kind of want to say this real quick. So I have a really good dear friend in my life who is one of the most talented chefs in all of North Carolina, who just has this really prolific smoking company that's being built from the ground up right now, and just has an abundance of experience, but not an abundance of business knowledge at this point. If I'm not mistaken, I believe he's my co-host right now. Is that true?
Yeah,
Liz?
that's me. That's me.
So
I definitely felt attack on that, but I'll get with you after the show.
Okay.
I really would like to have a conversation with you, because I've been, and I guess it's just I don't be knowing, but I just don't know my first step. So could you help me with that? If I came to you, you're going to put me in position to get everything copyrighted, or what would you help me with if I came to you as a business?
Absolutely. So with my coaching program, we offer from scaling to literally from EIN, LLC, register the business. If you need business credit, we'll start helping you structure that. With my coaching, I've actually changed it up. So I'm relaunching it, because I did it back in 2019, but they tore my nerves up. Okay. so I had to revamp. I didn't coach at all 2020, and I'm making a comeback February 1st. And so with this coaching, it's going to be an 8-week coaching. We could either meet once a week or twice a week. It depends on the client. And like I said, we're going to literally be scaling, making sure you're ready for your target market. It's just like so many things that we cover, easing you up to, the ending of the course, where we're just kind of seeing where you're at, what else needs to be covered. And then if you wanted to opt into our accountability calls monthly, because I can hold somebody accountable now. You might be done hung up on me after the first month. It's the same thing with my credit program, though, because I tell people this walk isn't for everyone, but don't tell me like, Tasha, I want to get a car, I want to get a house, and and you're doing everything outside of the box, or you want to build this foundation, you want to hit 6 figures. Because I tell people, I'm like, look, well, before the pandemic, I was hitting 10K a month, effortlessly. It's just that I figured out how many clients I needed to get me to my 10K a month. That's all I did. So then, because people ask, like, how do you walk away from your full-time job and things like that? It literally came from scaling my business.
Yeah.
Seeing what it took. So that's what I coach other people to do. It's nothing that I didn't do myself.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I definitely will be in contact with you. It's been a long time overdue. So
I agree, and I'm so excited. I can't wait for my boy to be legit, because he's gifted and he's talented. And so with that being said, let's stay on this talk point. Let's get back into your business and the services that you do offer for people who are ready to get focused and aggressive about repairing their credit and understanding how credit and all other things revolving around money work. When I was looking at some of your expectations, I guess for lack of a better word, you mentioned that you have a certain amount of investment fees required. You also talk about your personal client dashboard being unlimited. Intervention is an interesting word to me. And then also being able to assign personal credit specialists to your clients. So right away, when you mention investment fees as a part of your program, what does that mean? And then how does that where does that end up going as far as your services and setting your client up to be successful?
Absolutely. So I always tell people credit repair, being in our program, it's a luxury. Like you're building yourself up. And so the investment piece comes with an investment. You shouldn't look at it as something extra that you're paying for, nothing like that. You're investing into yourself. So that's why I labeled it as an investment, because starting and fixing your credit is an investment.
Perfect. I love that. So essentially, that's kind of just giving people a purse to pay themselves, and then understand how that money can be used to pay themselves again later once they've started to use your tools and your habits.
Absolutely.
Do you know how many people don't even pay themselves? And I mean, how many people spend money as soon as they get it and never pay themselves?
You got to invest in yourself. It takes money to make money.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're preaching to the choir at this point, but I'm so glad that is a part of a focal point of your services, actually. And then when you talk about your personal client dashboard being unlimited, what would be my experience if I were participating in your program right now?
So we have an awesome client portal, which allows you to view everything that we're doing from start to finish. So when we get your information, everything gets packed into your portal. You have visuals of us inputting everything, keeping an eye on your file and your scores. Our portal updates every 30 to 45 days. So when we're disputing things on your credit, when changes are being made, you're able to see all of that right from your client. Log in, and you have 24/7 access to that. Some of my clients, they'll be on their portal at 2, 4 o'clock in the morning, and they'll be like, I know it's late, but I'm just messaging you so you can call me tomorrow. My score went up 48 points, and I want to know what came off, when it's right there in the portal. But so some people just like talking to me. They want me to pour into them. They want to hear my visions and my thoughts. So, but yeah, our portal is super dope. It's changing all the time. Our software developer, I know him personally, because I started the software when he first started the software, and I've seen it change tremendously. And so some of the features on it you won't find it with most companies that it offers. So I think it's really dope.
I love that. It just seems like such a personal touch, because I don't know about other people. Me and my wife are currently in discussions of how we're setting our financial agenda up for this year, and it's intimidating. We've been riddled with some medical expenses from the last 2 years that have really started to play with our rainy day fund, which we were using to clean up some other blemishes on our credit record. And going up to someone and saying I need help is by far a very vulnerable thing to do, but then do it with something as personal as your credit, your payment history, and your income is even that much more intimidating to me. So it's really nice to know that we have sophisticated allies such as yourself who take time to understand not everybody's born with access to money, and not everyone receives knowledge through experience and through people with money being available in their lives to teach them how to take advantage of it. So again, I'm just appreciative of you, and then doing it for the home state, the hometown, in Greensboro, North Carolina, where I was reading a stat earlier. I think North Carolina, as of 2019, was ranked 15th on the poverty scale state by state in the United States. We're in like the top 30. And I think the more shocking number was 1 out of every 5 kids are living within the poverty line, or under the poverty line. And so that's just the cycle being continued. And we got curse breakers such as yourself, making yourself available to be a hero and a champion of everyone being able to understand how money works. So I personally appreciate you, and I love what you're doing with your business and your service. We're getting pretty close to letting you get back to whatever you were doing on a Sunday, enjoying yourself. But there was one more really good nugget of information that I saw when doing research on you, and I couldn't end this episode without bringing it up. So I wanted to mention that I came across a video of you and discovered that you are not the only super skilled person in your household. It seems that your household might be riddled with a bunch of talent. Specifically, there was one person in one of your videos who seemed to be a really good dancer. And on top of being a really good dancer, was equally gifted, if not better, at doing Jodeci impersonations. And most importantly, being able to put a smile on your face. But the thing that I saw that was super cool about this gentleman was he seems to be a really dope photographer, and it looks like his photography is now one of his businesses as well. Is this the fiance that you mentioned earlier?
Yeah.
So with him, is his business also within your same structure plan, i.e., are both of you all business owners at this point?
Mm-hmm.
So
well, I do it full time. My fiance, he drives his truck, but his studio is right around the corner from my office, like literally that way.
Okay, all right, hold up, throwing the notes out. So this is what I think is so cool, and I was hoping that was your answer, because that was one I didn't kind of discuss with you in great detail. You all are such a anomaly, in my opinion. Being from the same town that you guys currently reside in, and then people like myself and Reese, we're trying to build things from the ground up, not for us, but to set up generational wealth and generational success stories for our children's children at the end of the day. And you guys are well on your way by being dual entrepreneurs. I believe you mentioned going into home number 2 very soon. And then you guys are taking a step further and unifying your lives completely as you continue to reference him as your fiance. So with that, I guess what I would like to know, and this is why I love hearing people's hustle stories, how you guys manage all that? That's a lot of balls in the air. That's a lot of juggling going on. How do you manage all of that?
So believe it or not, so like we launched our I'm trying to think. So we have a house flipping company too that we just launched in September, October. So like we flip houses. So that business there we have together. And the goal is for him to come out of the truck. So this year in April, we're supposed to flip our first home. And so, that's going to be his gateway out the door. Photography is Jesse's passion. So, don't y'all cry at my little story, okay? So what happened was because, I don't know if y'all know, but I've only been full-blown entrepreneur probably about 3 years. Lord, I done lost my own track. Yeah, about 3 years. I've been full entrepreneur, okay? And so what happened was I was at work one day, and I literally used to have my laptop for my clients, and I would have my iMac for Apple. And I would just be typing, doing clients. I would be putting my customers on hold with Apple and be talking to my clients like, what did you say? And, having those conversations. So it was when I started seeing my paycheck match my income that my clients were paying. So I went to Jesse and I was just like, babe, I want to quit. That's what I told him. I said, I want to quit. And maybe that same week, I had ran into a team of realtors at KW, and they were looking for somebody to join their team. So I basically seen that as my way out. Like, okay, I got some clients. I have these realtors asking me to join their team, which come with clients with bad credit, right? Because they want to get into a home. So I seen the picture. Jesse believed in me. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was just like, babe, you know what? Quit. He was like, we good. Our home is paid for. We don't have many bills. We just got our car notes. He was like, just quit. And so at the time, all I had was my little Acura. I was only paying $250 a month. So, I was good. Like, I'm just like, we got a few little bills here and there. Jesse, he's a Hellcat Dodge Charger guy. We're on his 5th Charger. Don't ask.
He's a good man. He's a good man.
Yeah, so now he got a wide body Scat Pack something. So cars is his thing. He was in a car club years ago and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so Jesse let me quit my job, effortlessly. He was just like, babe, whatever. You want to go? Go. And I just took off running. So knowing that Jesse's passion was photography, I surprised him with a photography studio. Our landlord, our neighbor moved. I forgot what it was. It was something. I think it was right during the pandemic. Our neighbor decided he was going to move, and we talked to him. I told my landlord, I said, hold the building, and I'm gonna come back with the deposit. He was like, girl, what you gonna do over here? And so I told him, and so if you go look at Creative Space NC on Instagram, you'll see me and my friend designed the whole thing, and it's super dope. So, I just invested and took that leap out on Jesse, and because he did it for me. Now his friends and them lease from us. So his friends are photographers. They lease from us. We have other photographers that lease from us. So honestly, the rent pays itself over there. Even though Jesse shoots there as well, it's giving all his friends a place to shoot and video, and they do recordings and things there. So it just really gave us me the opportunity to just give back to him for what he done for me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's always that first step, is the hardest one. It's that you got to overcome that fear, but a lot of times it pays off.
And
absolutely. So Jesse is terrified about leaving his job. Okay, he is not he is not like me. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a gamble. Okay, I don't gamble with my money. I'll gamble with my life though. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's yours.
Like I'll be out there. Jesse's the other way around. He's not gambling. And so, I pour into him a lot. I be like, look, bet on yourself. Like, look at your gifts. Look how talented you are. I don't want to push him, because if I push him, I'm going to be pushing all the time. And so, us as individuals, you got to be mindful of that. Just because, you're in the headspace, everybody else isn't in the headspace.
Oh, yeah.
But what's so crazy is I've seen Jesse change. He used to lowball himself with his prices. He done cranked the prices up. He not shooting all these freebies no more. He like, nope, I'm not coming with my camera. He'll be like, we'll go to an event. He'll be like, they better not ask me to bring my camera. Where he used to bring that camera everywhere. So, it's building up. It's building up on its own, because when you start knowing your worth, you'll start doing a whole lot less if the numbers ain't sounding.
Oh, hey.
So, I had to learn that for myself, and now I'm able to tell other people, because I used to be like, why don't you just quit? You don't want to be there, but when you're ready, you'll know.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, friends of the podcast, when I talk about the Black girl magic, it is literally this right here. This woman is the living, breathing example for her daughter, where her daughter, who has no idea what's happening behind the scenes, but believes in her heart of hearts that these things that she wants and she sees mom and dad working towards are going to be hers eventually. That is manifestation, and that is one of the things I thoroughly love and want people to be intentional about what they expose their children to. But take it a step further. She's doing this with a grown man right now who she sees his worth, who she believes in, who she loves his process and all the things that he's passionate about. And she took a step out on faith so that he could see what his self-worth is. And that's changed his trajectory at this point. This is the power that we all possess within, and that's why we have to be really intentional about where we exhaust our energy and what we put our beliefs into. And so with that, I just want to make sure before we get you out of here, just thank you for being a living, breathing example of what that looks like for so many people who are right on the border of taking that same step for themselves. There's so many people in our circles, and even between Reese and myself, where this podcast was a risk and a gamble, because we kind of knew we wanted to do it. We just had no idea how it was going to work, especially with us being, I'm in California, he's in North Carolina, and splitting the ability to bring valuable guests on right now and hoping that their tech is as good as yours and so forth and so forth. So just thank you for that reminder. And one other thing before we go ahead and start to shut this fun, amazing episode down is I want you to plug your social medias. We need to know where to find you, and we need to know where your business website is so we can start shooting more clients in your direction.
Yep. So you can find me on Facebook at Natasha's Credit Services, Instagram, Natashas Credit Services. And then you will also find, I'm trying to think of what's my other platform. Okay, website, www.natashascreditservices.com.
Thank you so much for that. Ladies and gentlemen, get on there. And if you show up, tell her that we sent you and we say hello. There is no discount there, but we just want our friends to know that our friends are friends at this point.
This ain't Moo Brews.
No, this ain't Moo Brews. We ain't sending you no codes with that one. Okay, so last thing. Now we talked about a lot of your views on financial literacy. We talked about your business, and then we talked about the things that are making you really happy in life. The other thing I want to do with you right now, before we go, we're starting something new. You are our test pilot for this. Congratulations there. But we call this thing the 5-on-5s. This is a game that Reese and I kind of came up with on our very first episode of the I Don't Be Knowing podcast. And it's a quick way for people to get to know us and then vice versa. So we're going to play it one-sided. I'm going to rapid fire you this or that questions, at least 5. And I just need you to choose one. No explanation needed. And do not pay attention to my face if I'm judging you, okay? But that's what we're doing here. You ready? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the 5-on-5s, and we are playing with Natasha Jones. Natasha, Cookout or Sonic?
Cookout.
Music or movies?
Movies.
Target or Walmart?
Target.
Drew Hill or Jagged Edge?
How many seconds I get? Okay, Jagged Edge, I guess.
I'm sorry. Endless Money or Endless Time?
I'm gonna probably say Endless Time. That's hard.
That is a hard one. Okay.
That's a hard one. All
right. Unfortunately, that was 5. And, I like what you had to say up until we got to Drew Hill. But, I'm going to let you ride.
Yeah, like, shoot. I picked Endless Time because, man, I'm telling you, I don't know if y'all lost y'all's parents, but I lost my mom in May, the week of Mother's Day, and time is of the essence.
I'm so
my
sorry
condolences
to
to you. Yes.
Time is of the essence, like, seriously.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Money can't replace nothing, so.
Yeah, I believe my mother said something to the tune of, you can always get more money, you can't always get more time. Maybe that's not my mom. I don't be knowing. But with that being said, speaking of time, that is our time today. Natasha Jones, we appreciate you so much. We're so grateful and honored that you decided to come through and kick it with us today. Before we go, we would love for you to be able to invite more people to not only follow you, but to follow the I Don't Be Knowing podcast. And that is through our catchphrase. Reese, will you go ahead and tell what our catchphrase is before we get off the podcast? This kid just blanked.
I do that all the time.
I'm blanking, man.
Let's be friends.
Oh, man.
The word you created.
I did create that.
I'm Natasha Jones of Natashas Credit Services. Let's be friends.
Hey, let's be friends, man. All right, y'all. Make sure y'all tune in our next episode where we are going to bring on another guest and get right into another exciting typing. Another exciting. Okay. Well, see, our time is up. Okay, all right. I'm going to try that one more time. I'm going to have to do some editing this episode. Okay, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been our time with Natasha Jones of Tasha Credit Services. This has been another exciting episode. Make sure you tune in. Follow us on all of our social medias so you can see what we'll be coming up with for you next week. And with that being said, you all have a blessed and beautiful week. And make sure you come back and find out what's happening next on the I Don't Be Knowing podcast. I've been Trox.
Your boy Reese.
And it's been Natasha. Let's be friends. We're out.
Peace.